Do you never get lonely, Padraic?
Ever get what?
Lonely.
The Banshees of Inisherin is an insightful portrayal of existential loneliness. The story is set on the island of Inisherin, a beautiful but isolated place, far from the civil war going on in Ireland at that time. The movie centers on the story of Padraic, who is surprised when his friend Colm decides to keep distance from him at all costs.
You didn't do anything to me.
Well, that's what I was thinking, like.
I just don't like you no more.
Padraic struggles to understand and accept this breakup. He keeps trying to restore his friendship with Colm, even when Colm says he will cut off one of his own fingers whenever Padraic comes close to him. Sadly, Colm is true to his words, up to the point of cutting off all the fingers from his left hand. Without Colm, Padraic becomes progressively more isolated. We often see him looking at his friend from the outside through a window. Padraic cannot move on, he just wants things to go back to the way they were before. Contemplating the object of one's wishes and desires, while never being able to reach it, is a motif present throughout the movie. This seems to be, in the end, the deep reason for the loneliness that all characters experience, each one in their own way. This more existential type of loneliness, the painful separation from the object of desire, goes beyond mere social isolation. It is one that we all have felt sometime in our lives. And so, Banshees of Inisherin offers us an opportunity to meditate on our own experience of loneliness. All main characters struggle with not having what they desire the most. Look at Colm, for example. He does not seem to be socially isolated. He avoids Padraic, but still hangs out at the pub, drinks with others, laughs with them. Everyone is around him when he plays his music. Nevertheless, we know he is struggling with depression. We often see him sitting lonely in his house and lost in his thoughts. He tells Padraic he no longer wants to be friends with him because he does not want to waste his time talking nonsense with him. He sees his life passing by, and he would rather spend his time building a legacy through his music talents. Like Padraic, we can never truly understand what is going on inside of Colm. Is building a legacy really all that he wants? So, why did he cut off his fingers? Did he really have to reject Padraic completely? Maybe he didn't even know what he really wanted, what he was really looking for. Like Colm, sometimes we don't know for sure what is missing in our lives and what we are really looking for. How do we deal then with our own existential loneliness? Colm's tragic response to the question reminds us that sometimes we just cannot figure it out all by ourselves. Sometimes, without the support of others, we fall into pieces. How can we support those we love when they insist in keeping the doors of their life closed to us? This is Padraic's initial dilemma. He is the nicest person on the island. Who more than him wouldn't want to support his friend? But his niceness is not enough, and he is rejected over and over again. Besides that, he gets to see his friend seemingly enjoying the company of those who are morally worse than him. It is a rejection that feels almost like a betrayal. A rejection that little by little casts Padraic into the depths of his own loneliness. So Padraic's dilemma develops into something we also experience in our lives. How can I be there for others if I have to deal with my own struggles? Rejected by his friend, Padraic finds company with the most rejected person in the whole island, the troubled boy Dominic. He is beaten by his father and despised by everybody. He watches the ladies in the pub and wants to be around them, but his awkwardness and personal defects prevent him from having any real chance of ever coming closer to them. Dominic has no paternal or maternal love, no fraternal love, no friendly love, and no love from a woman either. He is as lonely as it gets when he manages to connect with Padraic. But Padraic is unfortunately too consumed by his own struggle to be of any help to Dominic. On the contrary, Dominic is the first to experience that Padraic is no longer the nice man he used to be, but he is starting to become bitter. Padraic misses an opportunity to move on, to mature and transcend his own struggles and limitations by focusing on supporting the person in front of him. Instead, he yields to melancholy and starts drowning into a worse version of himself. Like Colm and Dominic, Padraic doesn't manage to find a way out by himself. But unlike them, luckily he does have someone he can lean on: his sister Siobhan. Siobhan seems to be the more educated person in the island. She spends her time taking care of the house, reading sad books, and don't seem to have much of a social life. We see her once looking at the main island as if she hoped to find there the place where she really belongs to. She does what she can to support her brother. She confronts Colm for mistreating him. She defends him like a mother would do to a son. But sometimes, the virtues of a good mother are not enough to fix the situation. Siobhan's capacity to support her brother is limited. She herself is lonely and isolated from others in a place she doesn't really belong to. So like her brother, she's also caught between giving support to someone in need and having to bear her own sufferings. But unlike Padraic and Colm, she does not grow bitter. Instead, she prepares to take a meaningful action. When she goes to the post office, we come to know that she's been searching for job opportunities in the main island. Even though quiet and discreet about it, she has been preparing her way out, not in a desperate fashion, but after prudent preparation. By moving out of the island, she moves out of her social isolation. By finding a job, she moves out of financial dependence on her brother. And so, she acts like a mature person. She managed to overcome her limitations and becomes a better version of herself. Now, she can offer some actual help to her brother, as she does by sending him an invitation to come and live by her side. Sometimes, we do not have what it takes to help others, but we often have enough to help ourselves. And by doing so, we may come to a position where we can be of greater help to others. So, how could she see what to do when none of the others could? Maybe because she was really the only one who faced her existential loneliness and the reasons for her own unhappiness. Her brother tries to hide himself when he sees the old lady that symbolizes the Banshee walking toward him. Instead, Siobhan receives the lady in her home and talks to her. The Banshee is there when Siobhan goes to the post office. The Banshee is also there by the lake as a last temptation. She's inviting Siobhan to give in right before she decides to tell her brother she will be leaving and setting off to the main island. And so, by facing her reality, Siobhan discovers a path out of existential loneliness. It takes courage to face one's own pain. It takes prudence to prepare for the path ahead. It takes bold action to become a better version of oneself. She also finds out a better way to support those in need of her love. She does not allow herself to get trapped in her brother's destructive behavior. She no longer accepts to play a role in his life that does not belong to her. And above all, she stops trying to fix his problems. Rather, she opens a door of hope and invites him to walk towards it. In the end, Padraic and Colm find themselves engaged on a never-ending fight that has left them with more reasons to mourn than they already had in the beginning. In that sense, they become existentially the real Banshees of Inisherin. They remain on a path of destruction, which, as in a civil war, eventually leads to the ultimate existential loneliness, dramatically symbolized by Dominic's body collected by the island's Banshee. But it doesn't have to be so for Padraic. Siobhan's invitation opened a door for him, an opportunity, a moment of grace. Even though he has not taken the opportunity right away, the door remains open at the end of the movie. So, in our lives at times, we don't have the eyes to see the door or the strength to follow the path that leads to it. But as in the case of Padraic, as long as the door is open, hope remains.